We are live.
Everyone, please rise for the allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a regularly scheduled public session of the Woodbridge Board of Education and is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, also known as the Sunshine Law. This meeting has been approved by resolution adopted at the reorganization meeting held on January 3rd, 2022. Notification has been sent to the record. Notification has also been posted in the Woodbridge Law Hall, the Woodbridge Law Library, tapindustry.net, and the Woodbridge Board of Education website. Please be advised that all or a portion of this meeting is being live streamed in real time and will be recorded for rebroadcasting at a future date. Roll call.
Mr. Collins.
Here.
Mr. Gordon.
Here.
Mr. O'Byrne.
Here.
Mr. Vaccaro is absent. Mr. Diamante.
Present.
Mr. Nieves.
Present. All right, we actually have a few things to go through on presentations, recognitions, and awards tonight. So first, we're going to, Mr. Alvar, I'll turn it over to you for the College Board Student Recognition.
Good evening. This evening, we have the opportunity to celebrate the accomplishments of one of our 12th grade stars. Our own Eric Ramirez, who is already renowned for his accomplishments in our high school performing arts program. His work in the classroom consistently has placed him on our honor roll, and in school life in general, has now received an additional most well-deserved honor. The College Board program sponsors a national recognition program each year. This program grants underrepresented students with academic honors that can be included on college and scholarship applications and connects students with universities across the country, helping them stand out during the admissions process. Colleges and scholarship programs use these honors to identify students from underrepresented groups through College Board's Student Search Service. Eric has received the following honors from College Board as one of 62,000 students nationwide. Eric is being recognized with the National African American Recognition Award, as well as the National Hispanic Recognition Award. In order to qualify for these types of recognition, a student must meet the following requirements. Must have a GPA of 3.5 or higher at the time they are submitting their application, with both weighted and unweighted GPAs being considered. Must have a permanent address in the United States, United States territory, U.S. military base, or attend the Department of Defense Education Activity School. U.S. citizenship is not required. Must identify as African American, Hispanic, indigenous, or attend high school in a rural area or a small town. Must have taken the PSAT 10 in spring of 2021 or the PSAT NMSQT in fall of 21, or at least 2 distinct AP exams. Eligibility is determined by placement in the top 10% on the PSAT NMSQT or PSAT 10 within the program by state in the eligible exam period. With everything that Eric participates during the school year, this being his senior year, one would think that he would take the time to coast through his 12th grade credits. That's not how Eric operates. Eric is currently taking AP Biology, AP Statistics, AP English Literature, and AP Spanish, along with his electives. We are looking forward to many great things from Eric, and on behalf of the Woodbridge Board of Education, we wish to tell you how proud we all are of your many accomplishments thus far, and we look forward to similar success when you graduate from Woodbridge High School. Eric, on behalf of the board, if you can come up, I'd like to shake your hand. Another one?
Yeah.
Very top. All right, Mr. Soro, you're up next. So, for this, take a seat down here so we can see what's projecting. For those of you who aren't aware, actually want to go on the mic. Mr. Soro is actually here to present some of his findings. We did this last year with Ms. Schmidt as well as Mr. Lisa. So, Mr. Soro, you're up.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone who's watching virtually. My name is Ben Sir. I'm the principal of Woodbridge High School. Thank you for having me come and speak a little bit about the high school and what's been happening, what will be happening this year. Please excuse my voice. I was chasing my 2-year-old around all weekend, screaming as she ran across Overpeck Park. So I'm losing my voice, so please forgive the raspiness of my voice. So once again, thank you for coming. I have a picture of myself and my two vice principals, Mrs. Sinclair, who's also the athletic director, and Ms. Sylvia Raguccio, who actually just came back from maternity leave today. We're happy to have her back. So this is my administrative team. To start, I didn't have the opportunity to talk a little bit at the end of last year, like the other two principals, about what was happening that school year and what were the plans. So to start this presentation, I want to talk a little bit about last year. So if you recall, I came in November 1st of last year, a little late to the game, and coming in and having a lot of expectations to help move the school forward. I think one of the most important things that I did was try to take a step back and to just try to really listen and learn as much as I can. There's a lot of great things that are happening in the high school. There's things that need to be addressed. And to kind of really diagnose the situation, I really had to take some time to just listen and learn as best as I could. So what I did is I spent time speaking with the three most important groups in the building: the students, my staff, and my administrative team, right? I'll start with talking with the staff. So at the beginning of my time last year, I met with every single staff member in the building, doesn't matter what position, a one-on-one meeting for about 15 minutes. And I just asked them what their experience was at the high school, what were some things that were working, and what were some things that needed to be looked at, all right? And after compiling this list and sharing it with Mr. Algo, there was a lot of things, but I tried to condense it into a few things. I do know for a fact that although teachers do take heat for a variety of different things, we are very blessed to have a very dedicated staff at the high school. They are dedicated to what they do, and they're absolutely dedicated to their students. Staff wants direction. One of the things that was shared with me is they really want consistent administrative presence in the building. One thing that was brought to my attention is sometimes there is a switch when it comes to administration. We all know when there's a change in leadership, it happens in a little bit more of a frequent consistency than we would like. Sometimes priorities change and goals change and things kind of fall into the cracks. So the staff had actually shared with me that they want me to stay. They want me to stay for a long time because we all know that if if you want change, sustained change, there has to be consistency with leadership. So they had shared that with me. They're very open to constructive feedback. Sometimes a lot of individuals in the public think teachers just do what they do and they do it without any type of feedback, and that is not the case with the high school staff. They're very receptive to constructive feedback. They want to learn. They want professional development that's actually going to relate to what they're doing in their classrooms. They were very specific in saying, Mrs. Searle, we really want to learn about teaching and learning. We want to know what it means to have effective formative assessment. We want to know what it means to engage our students on a daily basis. And that was shared with me from multiple staff members. So we do have a staff that wants to learn. And again, as I shared, they want administration to remain the same. What I learned from my students, they are proud of their school. There is a perception that they are not, and that is not the case. They are very proud. One of the things that they shared with me is they want to stay. They want others to stay. There is this stigma about leaving to go elsewhere. They don't like that. They don't like the fact that others are leaving, and they're thought of, unfortunately, as the kids that were left behind. They don't want that. They're very intelligent, very capable students in the high school. And I want to make that very clear to everyone. We have tremendous students in our building, and they need to be engaged on a daily basis, and they need to make sure, we need to make sure that they feel heard and supported in the school. They want to be engaged. They're looking forward to student-centric instruction, and they are capable, as I mentioned. My administrative team, what I learned from them, they are a very talented group, two vice principals. I've had the opportunity to work with other administrators and vice principals and supervisors. These are hands down the two best administrators that I have worked with. They are dedicated. They work extremely hard. We're on emails. They're very late. We're texting each other very late. They're in early. We're doing a million different things together. And it's a beautiful relationship that we have as an administrative team. It is not an autocracy. I don't sit there and delegate and just run the place by myself. I can truly say that with Ms. Raguccio and Mrs. Sinclair, we have a really good model of shared leadership. And I appreciate them, I respect them, and I'm very happy to have them on my team. Taking the time to look over the notes and to think a little bit about what was presented to me, I did come up with a list of items that I thought would be really good to share with you when it comes to, as the principal coming in and looking to move the school forward. What is it that I want? I really want to improve climate and culture for every single person in the building. I want people to be heard, supported, and I want them to feel like they belong and that they're being heard by the principal and given the tools that they need to build positive climate and culture. That starts with what happens in the classroom, all right? So that was important to me. Shared leadership, like I said, that not only extends to my vice principals, that also extends to any teacher in the building who would like to take on ownership of different types of leadership duties. Engaging in rigorous educational experiences. Mr. Albo, when I first was hired, said, can you find out what teachers know about rigor? As much as our teachers know about a lot of things, there was varying definitions as to what rigor is. So coming in as a principal, I want to make sure that I have the ability to have my staff know what true rigor is. And for those of you who don't know, rigor is taking something and flexing it in a million different ways, applying it to various situations, cross-curricular, and having a student owning that learning. High expectations. I have high expectations for my staff. I have high expectations for my students. And I have high expectations for myself. Everybody is accountable in the building. And you can count me in that as well. I'm very big into communication. I do send out blasts. I put out a weekly Twitter video. If you don't see it, it's on our website. It's on our Twitter account, which I'll share at the end. I'm very much into communication. So I invite all the staff, again, at the beginning of this year to come meet with me. Student council meets with me. Abigail is a student council representative. We had varying athletes that come and meet with me. And I have had individuals from the community come and meet with me too. So everyone who's hearing this, or anyone that's here, if you'd like to come and speak to me about the high school, you are more than welcome in my office. We can set up a time to speak. Because obviously to move the school forward, it's not just administration and staff, it's also a community event. And the next thing is, we had brought in a program called Link It. It's a data warehouse that has a tremendous amount of information, and we're going to start to use that warehouse to make data-driven decision making. When I was in school, you had master teachers that worked off of hunches, right? Hunches are good, but we have to have numbers that go behind the hunches to make sure we record in a calculated way, measurable. I want to make sure that all students in the building's learning needs are addressed. Gifted and talented, common placement, honors, special education students, anyone else who's in the building. I want to make sure, like I shared before, that they're engaged in every lesson and they're really having a comprehensive educational experience. I want to bring in some innovation. One of the great things that Mrs. Sinclair brought in last year was a dual enrollment program with BCC. What a tremendous opportunity that is for our students to gain high school credit along with gaining college credit. And it's not just college credit that goes to BCC. There's a lot of articulations with the dual enrollment program. So that's innovative, and we're going to continue to look at innovative ways to move the school forward. Again, making sure everyone feels heard and supported. Post-secondary option education. It's wonderful that we have students that want to go to college, but there are other opportunities. I believe Mr. Apple had 6 or 8 young men and women who went into the armed forces. And what an awesome thing that is. There are so many opportunities for students to do things outside of college when they graduate. I want to make sure that our students and our staff are educated on those. And obviously, we all know testing scores are important. They get reported out every year for a variety of different types of tests. We need to make sure that our students are prepared for those tests and do as best as they can on those tests. That was last year. Those are some of the takeaways that I had. Those are some of the goals that I have. And again, those are the things that are going to be driving us forward as we try to move, as we work to move, the high school forward. Coming into this year, we have a number of new staff that I just want to recognize really quickly. For social studies, we have Mr. Christopher Russo. Mr. LaBelle is a school counselor who moved up to the high school. Ms. Kelly Muscle is, I believe, the director supervising Mr. Curriculum Instruction. Ms. Sanchez is a new counselor to the building. It's wonderful to have her because she's a native Spanish speaker, and that caters to some of the students that we have in our district. Ms. Sturba has moved up. She's our band teacher. Ms. Walkdowns is our new art teacher, and Ms. Diaz is a new teacher also to the building. Updates, like I had shared, Ms. Lucia Ruiz returned today. There has been numerous pieces of information shared about the auditorium. It's a beautiful, beautiful room. We're hoping to get to use that sooner than later. The small caf that was located outside the cafeteria is now a band room. We were able to do that because we took 2 lunches from last year that were very, very much packed, and we separated them out into 3 lunches. One of them notably being for middle school students, and that's a big win for us because we want to make sure that the middle school students feel safe, supported, and heard, and having that designated lunch period for them is important. We're working really hard to establish school pride. If you drive past the school and you look on the light posts, there are flags and banners with Blue Devil Pride. When you walk into the building, we have brand new carpets and mats that are Blue Devil Pride. We have a humongous Blue Devil Pride banner when you walk in. We have different pieces of Blue Devil Pride around the building. And we're also going to work on painting some of the hallways Blue Devil colors. Why is that? Because we want students to feel proud of the school that they walk into, proud of the mascot, proud of the sports and the clubs that they represent. And we're going to move the school forward in that way. Mr. Sinclair is starting a Blue Devils Buck program, which is basically a positive reinforcement program. He'll be sending out more information on that. Again, that's just to build more pride in our school and climate and culture moving forward. Continued development, I said, is the dual enrollment plan. We're going to continue to do that. And virtual learning. So I will address that right now as a high school principal. Virtual learning has been on the forefront due to COVID. As a principal, and before this, it was a very tough transition going from a brick and mortar school to a virtual school online. It was brand new for all of us. And we worked our way through it. And I think a lot of us can agree that it wasn't the best modality for teaching our students. That being said, there are companies that have been doing virtual learning for a very long time. I believe one of the ones you see all the time, I watch a lot of sports, is Southern New Hampshire University. When I'm watching a game, I see those come up all the time. That's a school that's been doing virtual learning for a long time. The reason I bring this up is because we worked very hard to fill a maternity position for Miss Zach, one of our math teachers. We posted online, AppleTrack. It was communicated out in a variety of different ways. I went on my LinkedIn profile, advertising the position. We called different schools and universities. We exhausted so many different avenues to try to find a math teacher. We did not have one applicant that was qualified, even certificate. So at the end of the summer, we came to the realization that we have to do something. And we brought in two virtual learning companies, New Jersey Center for Teaching and Learning, and JCTL, and Elevate K-12. Both of those companies have been doing virtual learning for a long time. Elevate K-12 has been doing it since 2015. And when I was at Bergen Tech in 2012, and JCTL was being used at Bergen Tech, they're also dipping their toes into virtual instruction. So that being said, we're going to continue to look for a replacement for Ms. Zach while she's gone, but I will let you know as a principal, I am very confident in the virtual instruction that we have taking place in our building. It's going to take some time for students to get used to it. It's going to take a little time for our staff to get used to it. But this week and the last week was just great. So I just want to make sure that I address the virtual learning. Cameras around the building is a great thing. But that they have been updated. I'm sure that's been shared out during board ed meetings. Another big thing that's really important to me is making sure that we're all healthy when it comes to our mental health, our social emotional health. I have brought in a program called Inner Explore, which is a mindfulness program that is very easy to use. Our staff are trained on it. And it's basically a plug and play where students simply just sit there. There's no phones, there's no laptops. They can sit there and they can listen to it practice, right? And obviously, when you're talking about high school students, you're talking about mindfulness. Like, well, this is just a bunch of junk. It really doesn't do anything. But I'll let you know, when I was working at the previous school before this in Englewood, it made dramatic impacts on a variety of different aspects. Academics went up, discipline went down, staff morale went up, student morale went up. It takes some time for it to kind of sink in with the students, but I'm very, very confident that this mindfulness program will make a big change in our school. It's in its second week, and I will report back later in the year to let you know if there's any type of measurable changes when it comes to academics, behavior, and and another thing that we did is to start the year, we had 3 drills the first week of school. We did a fire drill, we did a shelter in place, and we did a lockdown. Why is that? It's very important to me as a principal, knowing what's been happening in different schools and public areas over the past year to be as prepared as possible. None of this can happen unless students and staff feel safe in the building. And I want to make sure that everyone is prepared just in case we have some type of situation that happens in the school. We have wonderful SROs. Our administrators are around the building all the time. I'm around the building all the time. And I just want everyone to know that we have been practicing those drills. We actually had active shooter training for our staff the first week of school. We are very prepared in an event that we have to exercise any of those types of drills. We do have a new bell schedule, like I had shared. The reason we have a new bell schedule is because we did incorporate middle school lunch into the middle of the day. Lunch is 38 minutes for high schoolers and 37 minutes for middle schoolers. Start Strong testing is this week. I had blasted out an email and a letter twice over the last week or so outlining the assessments that are going to be taking place. Are going to be taking place tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. Back to school night is this Wednesday, so everyone who's listening, everyone who's here, we hope that have you come and visit the school and take a trip around the school and visit some of the teachers as they talk about curriculum instruction and assessment in the classrooms along with expectations. Our open house is October 11th, parent-teacher conferences on November 16th. And please, again, to keep up on a lot of this stuff, please view the principal's message that I put out weekly on Twitter. You can also find it on our website on the View Devil Nation TV. Really quickly, there was some communications that I sent out this year that were going to kind of be things that we focus a little bit more on. I don't want to go through all of this. The biggest things that I would like to share with everyone and get support at home with is earbuds and headphones. Students love to have the earbuds in, walk around, they have the headphones on, they walk around. Hey, when I'm running and I'm walking outside, I have them in. There's a time and a place for it. Obviously, like I mentioned before, we are in a situation where everyone needs to be aware of their surroundings at all times during the day, and having those things in during the day kind of inhibits that communication. So students during the day are not allowed to wear earbuds, they're not allowed to wear headphones unless it's during lunchtime, right? And hopefully you can understand the reason behind that. PE has not dressed in a couple of years because of COVID. We're back to having students dress for physical education. Lunch, I'm sure that's been discussed and paid for. We do have snack coming back. We have had snack come back to the high school. And dress code has been great. Thank you for all the parents who've been following up with that. And one change that students were not happy about, the administrators and staff were happy about. This year, instead of administrators running detention at the end of the day, obviously administrators are very busy during the day and can't devote as much time as they would like to detention as they would like. We do have staff members who are running detention for 45 minutes. That's curtailed a lot of the earbuds, a lot of the dress codes, a lot of the laces. So we're happy with that. I will continue to develop and meet with the different committees in the building. We have our school improvement panel, we have our safety, we have our INRS, we also have our grading policy committees. Again, I extended the invitation to my staff to meet with me at the beginning of the year to continue the conversation. I'm not a big fan of having a one and done type of thing. I would like to continue the conversations with my staff. As I mentioned before, everyone here and anyone who's listening is more than welcome to come to the school and have a discussion with me on anything that you'd like. And if you ever have any questions regarding the school, please reach out to me or a member of my administration. Sometimes a word of mouth is not always the best piece of information or best way to get information regarding a school. So if there is ever a concern or question about anything that's happening in the school, please feel free to reach out to myself, Mrs. Sinclair, or Ms. Ragusa Ruiz. As I mentioned, please follow us on Twitter at WoodridgeHS NJ. And with that being said, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to me, and I hope that together as a community we can move the school forward.
So if there are any questions regarding this presentation during the hearing of citizens on non-resolutions, we'll take those. We have one more presentation to go through, so we can talk about the graphic study. Dr. Grip is on the phone. I could share with you his accreditations, but I could say that this report is very much in detail. He's going to do the highlights. We'll ask Dr. Grip to depart. If there's questions, we'll also do it during the resolutions. Tony and I and the rest of the board will be prepped for that, and we will also make available the full report for your review in the coming week. So, Dr. Grip, I'm going to take a seat up over there. I'm going to turn it over to you. You hear?
Can you hear us?
Dr. Griff, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Hello? Rachel, it's Mr. Elmo.
Hi, Tony, how are you?
Good, you're on here. You hear us?
I can,
I'm getting on.
but I'm not getting,
You know what? Send him a chat and tell him he can begin his presentation. Or Tony, send him a text. Tell him to have a technical.
what?
We're ready for you to begin, Dr. Griff.
Yeah, I'm waiting to be accepted. I'm not seeing anything here on the link.
Tell him he's in.
You can ask
You're
me
in.
to let
You're
me
in. Dr. Griff, we see you. You're in.
Okay, I don't see anything here. Let me try re-entering in. Let me see if that works. Hold on a sec. Don't go anywhere. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I can see somebody. I'm gonna hang up. This is good. Denise, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Just give him a thumbs up.
Okay, can you turn up your volume or unmute yourself?
I'm not muted.
It's because you're plugged into the speaker. Default. You hear us now? Nope. You hear us now?
There we go. Okay. All right. Okay, can everybody see my screen about the demographic study title page?
Give them a thumbs up.
Yes.
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 Okay, great, thank you. Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Richard Griff from Statistical Forecasting, and tonight I'll be presenting about a 20-minute presentation on demographic study that was recently performed for the school district. A little bit of an overview of our firm. We are a company that does just this type of work, demographic studies for school districts in New York, New Jersey metropolitan area for almost the last 25 years. And we've done about 200 school districts in the state of New York and New Jersey. And we are the consultant for the New York State Public Schools since 2006. So that's the largest school district in the country, and we do all of their enrollment projections. Okay, this is a little bit of bio of myself. I'm the executive director of the firm. I have a doctorate from Rutgers University Graduate School of Education in Educational Statistics and Measurement. Most of us wound up working with the college board doing psychometric related issues and testing, but I wanted a more practical approach to use the statistical background. I was a school teacher for about 10 years in Bridgewater, Raritan, down in Somerset County, teaching physics and statistics. Locally, I grew up in Secaucus, not too far away. Published many articles on school demography, both in journals, peer-reviewed, and presented nationally on this topic. And I testify in the state as an expert witness in school demography in administrative law court hearings when school districts in sending and receiving agreements want to divorce from each other. So the purpose of this study was, as most people would think, is to project enrollment, but it's way more than that. So we do project enrollments for a 5-year period from 22-23 school year, which is this beginning school year, out through the 26-27 year. We don't project further than 5 years because the Department of Ed down in Trenton would not accept that, because then you have to start projecting kids that haven't been born yet. That's a very tricky thing to do. Other things that we looked at, you will not hear about all of these things tonight, but I'll just give you an idea of what we did. We looked at the community's population trends, its demographic and racial characteristics, age structure, birth count, fertility rates. From the town, we then looked at the school district and historical enrollments over time for the last decade, looking at enrollments also by the grade configuration, or in your case, by school, and also by race and poverty status to see if there's any changes over time. We computed what's called student yields, which are also known as children per housing unit, by different housing types. In other words, how many kids live in a typical detached single-family home in Woodridge, a townhouse, a condo, and an apartment. We also compared what the building capacities are to your current enrollments and projected enrollments to see if you can accommodate enrollments going forward. We contacted the municipality to find out about new housing starts and how that could impact the school district. We pin mapped all of your student addresses from the 16-17 school year and the 21-22 school year to show where students live, and we'll show you those maps later on. And the final thing we did is we computed enrollments through a completely independent analysis called the housing turnover analysis. We'll talk more about that later. So here's a little diagram of Woodridge historically. You can see that in the last 10 years, so this is
2020 count from the most recent census, a little bit over 10,000 people, there was a gain of about 2,500 people from 2010 to 2020. After a period of fairly stable population, there was a pretty big growth in the last 10 years. Everything you see to the right of the screen here is from another agency called the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority. Those are the projected populations based on the 2010 count, which means we're going to update these numbers eventually. Everything to the left of this vertical line right here are just historical populations from 1940 to 2020. So as a community, who are you? Well, interestingly enough, like many communities in the state, you're having a declining white population and increasing Hispanic and Asian population. So in 2020, you're about 61% white, 17% Hispanic, and 16% Asian. Those are the three largest racial groups. The median age is fairly similar throughout the state, as well as the foreign-born population. Those who are foreign-born, the largest sources of people from Korea and India. You have a fairly highly educated community, and I've noticed that it really has increased in the last 10 years. I think you have a different influx of people coming in. The education is 48% versus 41% for the state for a bachelor's degree or higher. Your household income, the median household income means that 50% have an income higher than 120,000, 50% have an income lower, but it's much higher than that in the state. About 3,500 housing units in Woodbridge, about 2/3 almost are one-unit homes. Those are either townhomes or single families. About 1/3 of housing units are renter occupied, which is fairly similar to the state. And the median value of the owner occupied unit is $444,000. So here are the three schools. Here's Doyle, the elementary school, the intermediate school, and the junior senior high school, and the district boundary, which is the same as the municipal boundary. So when we look at your historical enrollments over the last decade, we always get the enrollment on one specific day in the year, October the 15th, which is the day that you report your enrollments to the state of New Jersey. So when we did our study through the 21-22 school year. So the most current enrollment as of October 15th of 2021 was just shy of 1,260 students. That half that you see right here is due to a shared time student. So basically your enrollments were slowly increasing through the 17-18 year before they reversed trend. And if we look back 10 years, there really hasn't been that much of a change in enrollment. We basically gained about 119 students over the last decade. And this methodology that we use to project enrollment is something called the cohort survival ratio method, was what we use to project enrollment 5 years into the future. We'll talk briefly about how that is used. So again, here's your enrollment over time. You can just see that you have this slow increase up to the 17-18 year, a slow decline through the pandemic right here in 2021. The slight rebound in 21-22 is because a lot of students who did not come to your school in 2020-21 school year, probably due to remote learning or they want to come for hybrid learning, maybe they went to private school, they came back in the most current 21-22 school year. So when we look at your historical enrollments by grade configuration over time, this is where it gets interesting. So if you look at the blue line, this is Doyle right here, which is in blue. TK3, it's just showing basically steady enrollment growth over the last decade. For the intermediate school, which is grade 4 to 6 in purple, you're seeing a decline, but at the end of the period right here, it's starting to reverse trend. Why is that? It's because the increase in Doyle, those larger cohorts are finally starting to move up into the intermediate school, starting enrollment, causing enrollment growth there as well. For the junior and senior high school, you can see there was enrollment growth through 17-18 before there was a general decline in enrollment. But this is a very important graph to remember for the rest of the night, because this kind of forecasts what's going to happen in the future. If Doyle is going to continue at this trend for the last 10 years historically, those students have to go some methodology that I talked about a moment ago is the cohort survival ratio method is the methodology that is approved by the state of New Jersey to project such enrollment. And what we're doing is we're computing what's called a survival rate between one grade to the next over time. So I'll give you a simple example here. Say you have 100 first graders in 2020-21 school year. They become second graders in 21-22, and instead of having 100 of them, you lose 5 in the net, and you have 95 students. The survival rate is 95 over 100 or 0.95. So we do these grade progressions from birth to kindergarten, K-1, all the way up to 11 to 12. There's 13. If the ratios are above 1, you're gaining students due to inward migration. If they're below 1, you're losing students due to outward migration. Well, of the 13 ratios, 7 were above 1. You really don't have a clearly defined trend of inward or outward migration. What was interesting, though, was that in the last year, 21-22, 5 of the ratios were the highest value in the last decade, and 4 were at the junior high school level. You're seeing really high inward migration. I attribute it to people returning back to the school district after the first year of the pandemic. So what we do is we usually take an average for each grade progression, maybe the last 4 years or 5 years, and we because we don't want to use the most recent ratio because there could be an anomaly to that ratio. And we apply those average ratios to the current enrollment to project this future enrollment. The other phenomenon in the district called kindergarten replacement, which is negative. It's happened 5 of the last 9 years. Negative kindergarten replacement simply when the number of kindergarten students that we have in a particular year is less than the number of graduating 12th grade students in prior years. Let me give you an example. If you have 100 seniors graduating in 1 year, if all things in the interior grades are not changing, you need 100 kindergarten students to enter the district to keep everything balanced. Well, you're not getting enough students entering from kindergarten, causing this negative phenomenon to occur. You might get, say, for example, 80, which is probably a negative 20 for a kindergarten course. Positive KR is the reverse, when you have more kindergarten students entering than graduating seniors leaving. But the interesting part about your district is that the kindergarten replacement magnitude is very small, which indicates that the sizes of the entering and exit grades are fairly similar, and here they are over time. I have districts where the kindergarten replacement is somewhere 100, 150 students, either positive or negative. So you really don't have much of an issue of a difference between who's leaving and who's coming in. This is just showing the kindergarten replacement mapped up against how much your enrollment changes from 1 year to the next over time. Let's take a look at what happened in 21-22. You gained 13 students due to kindergarten replacement, but overall, the net change in enrollment in the district was 68. At this time, you had a lot of inward migration in 21-22. From the other grades, people probably returning back into the district. So we do look at birth counts. Birth counts are one of the most important parts of this study because they are usually project kindergarten students 5 years later. When we looked at your birth data at a period of time from 2007 to 2020, which was available from the New Jersey Department of Health, and basically your number of births has been steadily increasing. In fact, in this time period, they've more than doubled from 70 to 144. And as a result, your kindergarten classes have increased over this time period from 79 to 105. Not quite as big a change as in the birth count, but you're definitely getting more kindergarten students because you have more children being born in your 5 years prior. And this is what we're seeing here for your birth. In my experience, this is fairly unusual. We do not see this kind of shape of a graph for birth. It's fairly stable up to about 2013, and then it just took off. 151 births in 2019, 144 births in 2020. So when we look at the number of births in literature over time, which is the second column right here, and look at how many kindergarten students come 5 years later, we then can compute the first kindergarten survival ratio. We just talked about how to calculate that a moment ago. You have an even mix of some that are above 1 and below 1. So there's really not, again, a defined pattern for kindergarten of inward or outward migration. So when we look at your age pyramid for the community, this is very important. This is demography 101. This is called an age sex diagram where you show the percentage of males on the left and the percentage of females on the right by age class. 5-year age class is on the left, under 0 to 4, up to 85 and up. And in 2010, the largest group for males were 45 to 49, and for females was 40 to 44. So a big group here. And you can see are basically people that are probably bordering on empty nesters, middle-aged people. What we would expect in 2020 was that if everyone stayed put, of course, they would just age up to the next age class. Now, we don't have data for 2020 yet, I can even check, unfortunately, but we have something called the 2016 to 20 ACS, or American Community Survey. It's not a very pretty picture like the last one, because we're taking 5 years worth of data. What we can say is that the largest group in this one is the 50 to 54 group for males. So they did advance up one age class like we would expect. But what's unusual here is the largest group for females is 20 to 24. And I'm really surprised by that. I'm not really sure if that's going to be accurate once the 2020 census comes out, because it's based on a very, very small sample size. We also look at the enrollments by race in the school district. This is district-wide. You can see that the white population was about 2/3 white in 2016-17, advanced to 21-22, and it's about 54% white. Hispanics are the second largest race. They have grown from 21% to about 30% over this time period. When we look at it by school, really not much of a difference as you would expect. Fairly similar patterns to the district, is that whites are the largest race in school and Hispanics are the second largest race. Home sales are important to look at because it also helps to determine who's, if there's a lot of home sales, typically in the community, it's going to be buyers with families with children are the typical buyers. So you can see what happened here. It's interesting. This is from 1994 to 2021. On average, somewhere between 100 and 120 sales per year through 2007. And then you can see this big decline from 2008 to 12. That's due to the housing market crash and banking crisis. Now things are starting to go way up. 186 sales in 2021. Now you also have a lot more housing stock in the last 10 years. So part of the number of increase in sales is due to the fact that you have more property. But nonetheless, we definitely have more sales occurring in Woodbridge than prior to the housing market crash and banking. And you can see over time, if we look at where the greatest number of sales occurred, they're mostly in the northern section of the borough right here. This is just aggregating the number of sales by what's called a census block. And this is the last 5 or 6 years where the greatest number of sales are. So here are your enrollment projections, and we did 2 projections for you because enrollment projections are not an exact science. We try to vary some of the variables to give different options of what can possibly occur. The first scenario looks at the average survival ratios from the last 5 years, where the second one was also a 5-year average, but was weighted less to the 21-22 year because of all those people that came back into the district. We don't want to give it an equal weight because it may make the projections too high in the future. But in essence, what we're looking at is increased population throughout in either projection. The first one is looking at a gain of about 300 students, and the second one is about 276 students. When we look at it by school or grade configuration for both of these methodologies, you can see that if we look down here at the 5-year change, the Doyle School has a projected enrollment gain of about 200 to 210 students over the next 5 years. The Intermediate School is also projected to have a gain, but again, not as much. And the Junior Senior High School is basically projected fairly similar to its current enrollment. So when we compare the current and projected enrollments to the school building capacity, how are you doing? Do you have surplus seating? Do you have a shortage of seating? Well, first of all, let me explain to you that capacity is not a fixed number. you see here on the table were given to me from your long-range facility plan, which was created by your architect. And the capacity of the calculation based on how you are currently using the building. If you change how you are using the building, have more children being educated in a class, for instance, or more special education rooms, which would have less children in them, that would change the capacity. But currently, you have a small shortage of Doyle, a larger shortage being in Union School and at the Green Senior High School. But due to increasing enrollment, particularly at Doyle and Woodward Intermediate School, you can see that in the next 5 years, you're going to have a significant number of shortage of seats, particularly in those two buildings. The second last thing that for you is we did some math. And like I said at the outset, we basically took all these student addresses and pinned them into a map for 2 years, 16-17 school year and 21-22. And then we aggregated them by census block. We also looked at what's called student density, which is the number of students per square mile, and then the number of students per housing, which is also called student yield. Now, a census block is the smallest aggregate, it's the smallest geography by the census bureau. So let's look at the 16-17 year. You can see all these orange dots are where a student lives in your district. And if we advance to 21-22, we change the color to green, but there seems to be more of a concentration in the central and the northern part of the community. So it's kind of hard to say from looking at this. So we aggregate them by census block, which are these small geographies I just mentioned. So in the 16-17 year, the largest number of students per census block are these dark maroon colors. When we look at 21-22, it's the same area. I'm just going to toggle back and forth. You really can't see much of a difference at all. But of course, the greatest number of students could be located in the largest census block. Because this thing up here is one census block, a very large census block. So we divided it by the block's area to standardize it, and that's called student density. So the student density is greatest where you see dark green on this map. In 16-17, here's the greatest density up here in the central part of Woodridge. When we advance it to 21-22 using the same scale, it's really in the same area up top, not in the central part anymore. When we look at the greatest number of students per housing unit, what's the greatest student yield? That would be in dark purple, and that's pretty much scattered throughout the borough. But when we look in 21-22, you start to see that the color gets a little darker in purple, a little darker shades, which means that the student yield, so the number of kids per housing unit, has increased a little bit over time. And the last thing we get to today, last thing I'm talking about, is this housing turnover analysis. I'm going to explain really quickly that it is an analysis that we do just strictly looking at housing sales over time in Woodridge, and projecting students based on housing sales and excluding everything else, excluding births, excluding new housing construction. So will your district be more or less likely to increase enrollment based upon housing turnover from homes from older families to families with kids? So, and again, in this case, we're projecting houses, not students, projecting enrollment. So I'll explain how we'll do this. We look at only 1 to 4 family homes. That can be duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and of course single family homes. We take out townhouses and condos and age-restricted housing units. And we do not use these for your yearly enrollment projections. We use the ones that we saw a couple slides ago if you're looking at facility planning. There are 3 inputs for this. The first is the housing turnover rate by length of ownership. What that means is that a home that's owned maybe 1 year has a different selling rate pattern than a home that is owned 15 years or 20 years. Another input is the current distribution of homes by length of ownership. In other words, how many homes are owned at 0 years of ownership right now, 1 year, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. And the last input is the student yield by length of ownership. So turnover rates, what we did is we download data from a state database at the parcel level. and we track each home through its life cycle until it sells, or maybe it doesn't sell. The database contains all the sale dates and sale prices, the year that the home was built from maybe the last 27 or so years, from 1994 to 2021. So we have sale dates on every single house in Woodbridge. And we follow each year's cohort of homes beginning in 1994 to see when they sell. So for instance, I give you an example here. Let's say you have a home that was built in 1980 and it sold 3 times in 2002, 2008, and 2012. It's actually part of 3 separate cohorts, the 2002, 8, and 12 cohorts. Every time it gets sold, it goes into a new cohort. Its first length of ownership goes from 2002 to 2008, which is 6 years. From 2008 to 2012, the second length of ownership is 4, and its current length of ownership, which goes through 2021, you have 2022 data, is only 9 years. Now, we cannot assume that its first length of ownership is from 1980 to 2002, because we didn't have sale data that went back to 1980. It started in 1994, so it could have sold in 1988, but we have no idea. So this is just showing what the average turnover rates are for your community's housing stock over time, which is really interesting. It's basically showing that a home with 1 year of ownership has the highest turnover rate percentage, it's almost 6%. But if you have a home that's owned, say, 25 years, only 2% of homes will sell. So we look at the historical average turnover rate for each length of ownership over time, and we're assuming going forward that they will continue to sell at exactly the historical average turnover rate that we've experienced in the last 27 years through good housing market cycles and bad housing market cycles. Right now, in 2021, here's where you have the greatest number of homes. Is at 100, is it 1 year of ownership, you have 100 homes. And you can see there's not too many as you get further out, 20, 30 homes as you get to 27 years of ownership. Where are the students? Well, we figured out where those students are by length of ownership. And the greatest number of students is at 10 years of ownership, where there's 1 child per housing unit. And what's interesting, and this is really interesting to see, is that you can see that yields increase up through 10 years of ownership. And then they begin to decline. And that makes sense, because students would graduate out of the school district. You wouldn't be able to teach many students way out here at 22 years of ownership, because they would likely have graduated from the school district. So what this is showing is that not every single house in Woodbridge has the same number of children. It really depends upon how many years the home has been owned. So with this projection methodology, we're using the current length of ownership, which I showed about 2 slides ago, and the historical turnover rates to either A, advance homes to 1 more year of ownership, or B, sell them and have them return down to 0 years of ownership. So then the number of homes at each length of ownership is multiplied by the student yield at each length of ownership, which is this slide right here. It's a little bit of a complex process, but it does work. It was developed by some colleagues of mine out of Cal Berkeley. So we did 2 different scenarios for this particular case as well. You can see here, we started out with about 1,300 students in the database, the student address database. It's a little different than what you report to the state. And you can see a very, very small decline of students of about 13 children. So really not much happening in our first scenario. This is where we had a long-held homes of 28 or more years of ownership. We increased the selling rate to about 3.4% to kind of model if we had a lot of empty nesters currently deciding to sell their home. In scenario number 2, we changed the historical average turnover rates, because I think they're not quite exactly what's going to happen in the future, because I think that represents an older period. And what we did is we took what's called the modified turnover rate, which is something in between the maximum turnover rate, which is in purple, and the average in green, to more or less accelerate the turnover rates in the community, to see what that would happen. And this gets us even more of an enrollment decline in the community. What does this mean? Well, it basically means that your community is not going to increase enrollment to the housing turnover. That's not going to be the reason why your enrollment goes up. It's going to be something else that is going to cause the enrollment to increase. So lastly, let's talk any notes tonight. You know, COVID-19, of course, has had a big impact on enrollment across the country. I don't live in New Jersey anymore. I live in Vermont. We've had a big increase in enrollment after years of decline. We're considered one of the two big names, big brain drain states in the Northeast, the other one being Maine. Some districts around the country have really large enrollment declines. And the question is, I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you the answer to this, is what's going to happen in the future? And I really don't have an answer because part of the problem has to do, I think, with remote work, is that we just don't know if people who have moved up here to their second homes or if they bought a home, are they going to go back to where their primary home is and have to go into the office, or are they going to continue to remote work? And if they do, their kids are going to stay where they are. So that's a real big issue that no one really seems to know. It's going to change the landscape of work probably in America. So the summary here tonight is that enrollments are projected to increase throughout the 5-year projection period. A gain of 275 students in the scenario number 2. That's my preferred method of the two that we talked about tonight. Primarily due to the larger incoming kindergarten classes, which are a result of the increase in the birth rate, and the greatest gains are projected in Doyle and the intermediate as the larger cohorts continue to move through the system. So if the board has any questions, I can certainly entertain them at this time.
So, Dr. Griff, you can't thank you enough for doing this. I know this is a very abbreviated version of what you have put together. We are actually doing this presentation, probably doing the next 24 to 48 hours, available to the public, as well as your full report. I'm sure we will have questions. For tonight, I think you are done. Tony and I will answer the questions. I'm sure we'll be able to do more. And I would like to at least say we might have to pull you back for some more detail, if required to do that on the public report.
Okay, that sounds fine. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good evening.
Yeah, that was almost on topic, but Abigail, sorry, come on. So Carolyn Appleton, Abigail, now our other student rep. Advice. Don't come to me. I'm sorry I had to go through that. But just like we announced in our last meeting, Abigail will be here representing student body during that meeting and for an update and whatnot. So I know it's your first time here. I don't know how much you have, but you have something to say. Okay.
Again, I'm Abby Sandra, senior at Woodland High School. I've been here every week where 2022, 2023 years off to start. I personally witnessed many of the upperclassmen playing their part in helping the new students adjust to children around, find classes, leading to do what they Friday, we have a pep rally. I was sending revenue success to the kick off the year. As always, with the students, their outstanding students and overall student spirit. The football team is doing outstanding there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 5 0. So, of course. And so men's students are showing up more than ever and really playing overall sport. All teachers and students are doing a great job organizing the team time in a healthy and positive environment for each really create a safe atmosphere. There's one of the students who takes communication. I think, at the same time, is even better than previous years, everybody's been very involved, a lot more personal. Yeah, this year is also very fun, I'm just to see what, in that way.
Trustee, how much questions? Yeah, that was a great report. Thank you. All right, on to our superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. I open my report this evening by sharing that I had the pleasure of attending the back-to-school life programs at both the intermediate school as well as the middle school last week. We had a wonderful turnout of parents and guardians, and our staff members did a terrific job of delivering a brief presentation concerning the instructional programs at each school. Mr. Lisa and Ms. Schmidt, our building principals, delivered an opening address to highlight aspects of their respective schools and hopefully address some questions that may have existed at the early part of the school year. As Mrs. Shaw mentioned earlier, the Woodbridge High School is hosting their back-to-school night this Wednesday evening at 6:30. Over the course of the past few weeks, the results of the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment in spring of 2022 were sent home to participating student families. Students in grades 3 through 9, for the most part, should have received their results either at back-to-school night, via the mail, or perhaps via back message. I'll be presenting the district state testing report at our next board meeting on October 17th. The report will be posted on our website shortly thereafter. In all three school buildings in the coming weeks, we'll be administering the fall 2022 START Strong assessment. These short assessments will be delivered online to the following grade levels: ELA grades 4 through 10, math grades 4 through 8, and students enrolled in Algebra 1, Geometry, and Biology 2 classes, as well as students enrolled in grades 6, 9, or 12 science classes. We should be receiving these results fairly quickly, and we will be able to apply the achievement data to make thoughtful adjustments to instructional planning and delivery strategies. On our district website in the left column, you'll find a link to the 2022-2023 assessment schedule. This is a state requirement designed to inform all school stakeholders of the various types of assessments being delivered to students throughout the course of the school year. If you have any questions about any of these assessments, please feel free to contact the child building principal. Additionally, on the website in the left column is another document that satisfies the state requirements. The district emergency virtual remote instruction plan for the current school year. This plan is being approved by the Board of Education this evening so that it can be sent on to the County Department of Education for approval. This plan basically outlines the district's response if we have any cause to transition to a virtual or remote instruction plan in the event of an emergency. Obviously, prior to March 2020, this plan did not exist on paper. However, since that time, we have learned to be prepared for just about any emergency that might cause a disruption to in-person instruction. Our agenda this evening includes the board approval of personnel in the areas of clubs and activities. I would like to thank the board for their support as we now have a paid position for our intermediate school band instructor with the appointment of Mr. Sipple, our new music teacher at the intermediate school. This addition will help to support the growth of our district's visual and performing arts program. The board is also approving a variety of fundraisers and field trips as we continue to restore our programs to pre-pandemic times. I'd also like to thank the sports family for their donations to some of our high school athletic programs, and the Woodbridge PTA for their donation of 2 new electric stoves in our high school culinary arts program, as well as the donation of 12 SNAP service kits to benefit our intermediate school STEM program. A reminder that the PTA is currently conducting their membership drive. The information can be accessed on the PTA tab on the district website. Mr. that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Trustees, any comments, questions, concerns? All right, upon recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved minutes of the following meeting, executive and working session, August 29th, 2022. Can I get a first? Mr. Garber, second. Mr. Diamante, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Garvin.
Yes.
Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Mr. Vaccaro is absent. Mr. Diamante.
Yes.
Mr. Nieves.
Yes. Before I go through the committee report, anything from the business? No. All right. Any questions? You mind if I go through the, same as always, right? All right. Curriculum instruction, approval of professional development request, approval of evaluation request, approval of two men, out of district placement, approval of terminate placement, approval of field trip, approval of purchase, approval of position of district emergency, approval of notice from transfer, 22 school year, approval of mentor, approval of instruction. For personnel, we have approval of instructor personnel, approval of the 22 position appointment, 9/13/22, approval of capital improvement of high school co-curricular appointments, 22 progress, 22-23 school year, approval of co-curricular appointments for the 22-23 school year, approval of 22-23 high school student improvement committee appointments, and approval of 22-23 high school KP appointments. Month policy, building ground, we have approval of facility requests, we have two of them, the Funaki, for finance, we have approval of the bills, with approval of money and financial report of the board secretary, treasurer, approval of certification of balance budget, approval of budget transfer, approval of fundraising, approval of acceptance of donation, approval of another acceptance of donation, one approval of not, one is not. Board operations, we have approval of the social effects of calculation of superintendent report of incidents, harassment, intimidation, bullying, otherwise known as HIP, within the district, and approval of the annual uniform statement and land agreement, 22-23. So I open it up to the general citizens on resolutions only, comments, questions, or concerns, trustees. All right, I'm going to open it up to the hearing of the citizens on the resolutions only. Yeah, so when I open the regular, yes, you can come and talk to me. Yes. No, hearing none, seeing none, do we have any other submitted? All right, I'll close the hearing of citizens on the resolutions only. Trustees looking for your support, which includes Funaki, curriculum instruction 1, 5, and 7, personnel 1 through 4, 6, 7, 8, and policy, buildings and ground 2, finance 1 through 6, and board operations 1 through 3. Can I get a first? Mr. Garvin again, Mr. O'Byrne, number 2, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Pat,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll is absent, Mr. Biamonte.
Yes.
Mr. Nieto.
Yes. Trustees looking for your support, which is Woodbridge only, curriculum instruction 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8, personnel 5, none, policy, building and grounds 1, finance number 7, board operations none. Can I get a first? Mr. Fallon, Mr. O'Byrne, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll is absent, Mr. Biamonte.
Yes.
Mr. Nieto.
Yes. Trustees, thank you. Before I open up to the hearing of citizens, anything for unfinished business? No. Okay. We'll do it a little different because there's probably gonna be a lot of questions around both presentations that will come up. If there's anything, I will ask first, so nothing is going on. But if you have questions first around anything that has nothing to do with the demographic study or the historical presentation, come up first and then we'll get everything into that. Okay? Anybody have any questions on anything that's not Dr. Britt or related? Okay, so we'll get right to it.
First, I just want to say congrats to our football team. I know our soccer team also did hype. We're not going to have the girls. Thank you for coming and doing the presentation. I've been waiting for that. So I just wondered, I know we've had conversations about the schedule and if there was changing that going forward. So I just wanted to regarding that.
Feel free, Mr. Soro. I'll tell you the big one.
So the answer to that is that next year we're looking at 15-8. That allows you a lot more flexible with scheduling. To get a little bit more concentrated, focus on some of our women classes, that we do classes, and cut off the classes that you do not need to best because so that's your question. 15-8 and 7.
Not the AP classes, the other things. Not the doing that.
on the sport. That's it. Mr. Cruz, if I could just add to that, this is something that I've been looking at since I took over, and when Mr. Store was hired, that was his first charge to look at it. We still have to examine. I'm sure there are going to be issues that are going to come up that we have to resolve before we actually put the plan into place. The school council department, myself, and health and education are in the process of doing. We talk about advantages, disadvantages, possible pitfalls, what remains, what has to come out, and how we can overcome those things that are taken out. I do believe it's a good move for our school, our district, and I will definitely, as we progress, report back to the public and to the board about what our vision.
I guess there was some talk about those large tech programs opening up, and maybe our members want to try and those students taking some of those programs, those are limited amount. So I wasn't sure if that was something that was benefiting our students and our staff with class and scheduling, so I didn't put that to that. So maybe it's just some of the continuing to look at. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Dana Cedar Street. I mean, I guess I'll just cut straight. While Dr. Brick's presentation was earth shattering, you could have seen it coming. Dr. Park, back to school night, Boulevard, mind blowing. I'm sure everyone here is stunned, as are if you want on. What's the executive plan moving forward in terms of expediting process? Because I was hearing my son wasn't even enjoying that either on the COVID happened and we talked to Mr. Charlo comes to show us the fact in my budget standards to me, but that demographic study shows we are out of time. There's no time for backroom conversations. When I was young enough and talked with the organization and working with all of those leaders in public. So when is that happening?
So we haven't discussed having a public meeting, but we're having it, that's right. There is, activity, building in town, so there are some discussions talking about applying. I can't say yes, which ones they are, but it's the demographic study is something that we are working with our administrators on because, it's clear, it's a fit, we want to talk about outside of studies as well, we see that level up. I actually think that we build those facilities and we structure the next program, allow some of that stay within. So, we're not just about that, so we have those offices, that's the central offices that are there. We need to be there. So those are the stuff that are happening now. The first two big milestones, we report out, I believe, are the 2017. So it's just moving away with the being talked about what goals, facilities are looking at acquiring, and if you architect how to be able to plan based on this data. I think that's more of an education type thing. I am. What you put together is it proves the point, like you said, that you knew it was required and what might be to pay some money. You have to do that in order to get the facilities prep. But there's still a lot of discussion with how we do it, what the have the publicly as far as how we want to develop those things and what they should look like, and where they should be aligned. I'll use an example of this building. If you start to have infections of files, you're not going to get what you should, right? But then there's other things that you use it. What would they be used for? So those are the types of stuff that I'm all in favor of that they probably having minutes or you say you have a committee.
And also, in Dr. Brick mentioned the long-term plan that was going to be what long-term plan was that, and what we could hear on that?
It was right prior to this building being built.
Yeah, we had that opportunity, but we don't have to do on that. We got like this all the stuff that we have going on.
If I could jump in, the long range plan makes you think that it's something that's telling you down the road. It's really telling you what you've done along the way. And then you continue to so this is something that is required to do at a certain interval of time, but it really tells you more how much you've grown, not so much where you're going to be by the future.
The long-range facility plan that we were talking about is something that you did prior to this building?
You know, it was done prior to we actually develop a long-range plan, about capacity, and then we had to update it and reduce that program, and that's what we developed. When we do it,
So exactly what did you do in terms of what was being utilized? So what you were saying, that we're already out of state and the curious of what you saw that was being utilized.
I would have to check and see if the long-range facility plan included some of the data that we made in class in this order, and the time frame for it. Obviously, that was the next plan. That's what we have to do. Also, as you mentioned, that affects the capacity, how you're using those rooms. We all know, we've changed rooms many times and cut rooms into rooms. Those haven't been affected yet. Long-range facility.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I know that I say this often, and does all the different locations, but I know this is something that's coming, it's coming in years to come. But I'm asking the board for a date, I want you to have a plan from you guys of what the next 1 to 3 years looks like of what we're going to do for our schools. And I'm not asking you to debate, we're in discussion, we're having conversations, we're talking about a concrete plan of what's to come when the secondary class gets good, when the middle school, when the kindergarten class is coming in, maybe for second, because as you can see, it's happening. So we don't really have much time to be saying we're in talks. The mayor just comes back to school and says that there's partnership, we're having conversations. I spoke to the mayor, I asked her agenda, I asked for minutes, and he said, well, we don't have it. So I'm not sure how we have a great partnership and how we meetings when there's no minutes or agenda.
was, it's basically 100%, and we reset and we're trying to come to meeting. Because we are having a meeting.
How do you have meetings when there's no minutes or agenda?
We don't have to have meetings.
We don't have to. Because it sounds like people.
No, always the forum, yes, because we're not meeting, so we have a meeting. So, but if there was a forum, then we would have to publicly announce that, yes. Yes, but that's not, we have a meeting, we have a share meeting, et cetera. So we actually purposely keep under the forum, because we want that, but there's a corporate order, what you just said, and it's only, it's not mayor and council. What is our plan? Like, I mean, when you comfortable coming, I'm sorry to put this on the spot, but by 22nd, it takes us, just over 2 months, because I don't actually have some sort of plan for a timeline. At least speak to what 2-year window for how we would fit our students in the event that we have to limit the building and if you're not, you want to put that one, that's fine.
I can say right now, without any indication, that I have to plan for next September to do it. I have to look at our special education numbers and classroom use, then the projections from kindergarten for next year, and the impact on the student population. I know where we are right now, we're beyond capacity right now for the school, and if the numbers were to continue, I have to have a plan, and that's the plan of what I have a plan for, I have a plan for September, I got a plan for when the second grade gets to the intermediate school, I got a plan for when the building is built. So I like to look long term, and I like to look forward to seeing that building built wherever it is, but in the meantime, I have students that are doing Royal School next September, and after the year, there's the next grade school. So
I
that's,
just feel like it would give us some comfort to know that.
Yeah.
Concrete
Well,
plan,
I just felt like that, so are you comfortable with that? Even if it's in development?
even if you're the same,
Like a plan?
I will do my best to have some of them. I will do my best to have some of them.
And even if it's in draft, it's always.
I'll do my best to have them.
You and everyone understands that it's a work in progress, but when we get transparency to that, before the board,
I'm confused. We're looking for properties to buy new buildings. But when you refer to the superintendent, the drafting plans that may or may not come to fruition. So my question is very straightforward. Are we building a new school or are we fitting in the increased enrollment to existing structures?
We're getting a new school, but we're not going to get it in time to fix the problem by next September. So we still need a plan for, what if you get another 120, we're at 105 now, and we'll get 125 next year. So there's still, it's like a plan A and a plan B. Plan A is, okay, so we're looking at, still not going to go for 12 months, right? So what are we going to do to mitigate, the pressures on the school and the size of the classroom and everything next September, so that, have that new building, then we can fit everything. We still, we've got that's true, right? So we're not gonna buy buildings, knock it down, extend on the one, whatever it is in 12 months. So we still need a plan, see what's going to happen.
But my concern is that we're asking Mr. Alvarez to come to a November meeting with a plan that really is a plan he needs to make anyway. Really, the conversation in November should look more towards partners that would be very personal. Okay, because it's actually, it seems to be two different conversations. Plan A is needs to be expedited because it has to happen.
Right.
But I think what Melissa is speaking more towards is that long-term solution of where we build and when we
No,
build.
that's okay. Definitely the whole, movie to do new buildings is one conversation. Only, I don't know, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but he said you have to, you really need to plan for next year. So it's no secret that we've been working on it. I just don't know if we can develop those, probably have to happen to share, so that you can see what you're looking for. You definitely got it.
Maybe I missed it during the presentation, but you look at the 2021 numbers of housing growth, what about the housing growth that have used the growth, not the housing growth, so there's like 500 units.
So, there's two different, so what he bases his law on, and then we go to calendar year in 2021. So yes, it did not account for new buildings and other things from 1/1/22 to today, right? The assumption is on class size, it goes to, instead of going the last size, which the unit or the old area, those assumptions go to the different buildings, not go down now. Yeah. So again, one was, the result of housing, and then that's in hindsight, until 1/1 or 1 last year, the assumptions on 5-year projected sales was roughly. Anyone else?
You get your voice, that's what we want.
The final process, is that correct?
what that means. Oh, that's true. I don't know that.
Yeah, so,
Plus, the other community was 2 years ago. Another thing we did. About the story that we began with the council. And it's still talking to the stuff that you will be a forum, that your law, they will go up or something, stuff.
all right, so you know what? We walked up here, and the first thing we said to people was, this is why I don't want to do it. We challenged the integrity of Dr. President's study.
No, I didn't.
Hold on, you had your chance to talk. So, you need to be on constant attacking. Let me just ask you, what is your question, and then we'll answer.
My question is one question, put it on that.
Yeah.
Second question is, I don't talk to the employees, because they just get here. Two, it was discussion that happened 2 years ago. And it was two. And it was still something like, needed still, you know, people say, but you know, architectural plan, you know, this population, you know, everybody is really, everybody is, like, on this one, I see double barrels, let's get it over. Anyone who lives down, they walk through, see it. But instead of talking about it, really, they have to do the so they could do it. What is the force? What's the force? How big is the force? So what grade level is the force? And we just talk about it. And then things are force based on the captain, by the question.
Your questions don't have to be, you don't have to start with, I'm going to the bar, I'm going to bank account. You do it, you
I said, yeah, and I, you know, I make those things, right? You come to the guy as we become to a person of your part. Well, you are, and you are. You come to someone who's like this. I'm not just and
Nobody
in
has no question.
2012, 2 years ago, and you can hear that. And I know one more work on it. That they have to buy, you know, but that is supposed to be. How can you close funding and using numbers again? Fine, that's separate. Really good that we do. But that would take some people to say, no, no. Here's this one thing. You know, and you say that this is mayor council, but where is the discussion? Why doesn't it come with this discussion?
First of all, I don't think that really we had this discussion around having the building, we weren't serious with it right now. When you think 2 years ago, I think,
You know, the high school.
I'm not,
The high school, you know,
no, I know, but I don't remember saying like, hey, you're going to get a building. I think a lot of what I talked about was, one, not one range plan for the building facility, but, you know, overall goals, what are the popular around the educational side. I never recall saying, I did remember saying at one point, we were interested, in the Augusta building, but we didn't have enough capacity to go to that building and, you know, require that. So, you know, we didn't have anything to do. And from an expansion perspective, we didn't also have the capital and we didn't go to a referendum to build like on top and anything like that. We did come to an agreement though as a board, you know, that we did see, you know, some wide increase, so we were still able to keep them to 4 sections at the time. So we, you know, we knew that we were able to have 3 grades. I'm saying, I mean, that's what we had talked about.
And I guess it's just for the good that I've been involved in this process. You need to vote, right? Because the kids are listening. My kids, my grandson, in high school, like something gets done, right? And you listen to generation, you know, that's good.
You know,
And this, you guys are good.
I can appreciate what you're saying, and I can disagree, because I don't think I actually said that my desire to have it in 2 years or less. I mean, I understand, so I don't want to.
Mr. Sorrow and Mr. Harper. said they do. Are you there?
I remember.
It's like, I was around 45 years.
It was in the early times of the
Yeah, it's how old you put down in that field, you know, it takes this body here, right? So, this is the opportunity to talk to Fred and to take it to the community. Of course. Now, things are done already, and we still in that phase of, no. I want to get into the stuff. Yes, the board meeting, you guys know that. So those things, and I hope the body here will together in November. I know there's a plan. I know there's a plan. You just need to know what.
I think that's what
I
why I do want to say that, like, Dr. Britt has done this in a lot of communities. I actually challenged him a little bit because it was been on,
I have to look at them to the general, originally, before we look at the three different cohorts at 1, 10, and 25. Let's get to that 25, 25, focus on 10 per week, right? So get to some level of plateau. But what you're finding out is the public growth, but I can't remember, so it's that work rate that's going on. Even though the cities may not have shown it like it's over 1 square mile, it's still a big number and growth that 45 years and we continue at that same rate long. So I actually no, right now, you take 400, 2 years ago, we've been discussed, and I remember they just completed, so I love people still moving in. So I love that the field for.
No, he
included level of investment.
he included 562 units, new units, and then he based it on, he broke it down to different cohorts of a 1 maximum 3 bedroom or 2 bedroom. So I'm just saying, he did put total numbers.
But those numbers, no, that's not normal, yeah, I don't think.
Well, right, yeah.
12 years ago, only 7 people, only 7 kids in the district. I said, okay, and I had to know, I had to go to the home. Yeah, you saw in the report. 265 students, whatever it was, it's a grade of 1 to 7. It's like, these studies are wonderful, and these guys, that all their PhDs, who went to Harvard, went to Yale, wonderful, great school, God bless, you know what I mean? But the reality, as you said, you walk up and down the street, and you see parents with 4 kids all over the place. I think it's really great to tell me what I really know. You guys go after that, right? Yeah.
So I spend time moving forward, and I can but when I came in about a little under 2 years ago, and I said, if we need to look at schools, this was full of data support that I'm looking at the I got the site, and I answered a lot of questions about started, unfortunately, nowadays. When we started 5 years ago, yeah, probably 7 years ago, well, demographics started, and, I asked the question where you're at, for the cost, why did you do that? All the people, and it came down to, we said it's all funding, and, you need to have it for the state, you need to have it back here. So, we are starting, I don't really understand why it's taking so long either, but it is happening.
Something's happening, whatever is going to this, whatever come back, really because you and we have
So we don't, I think, what we don't.
pay the state, the money is going to be able to $2 billion available for the state.
So there's a number of things there, the grant, there's also population, which we look at, there is a couple of things, I don't know, I have to go to the budget, we have to go down, and the next, like, we take it, go
done, so I can tell you, but, you know, if it becomes really kind of development, and it's only great, those are things. So I don't know, but I'm just saying those are the things that we have to be talking about.
Again, and the first, report where we discussed the building inspection happened 4 years ago. But when you build 5,000 units, okay, you don't even have to do stuff. The 7 schools is good. And again, that's 4 years ago, but we still have it. Now it's here. Because it's doing it. And we still have the resources to do it, we still don't need to. Just, you know, again, those are things we do just to the council, but so hopefully we're done with here. I'll take this thing. That's my life. I'm sorry. I wasn't. Oh, yeah. Don't take it
You're gonna
personal.
appear enough, I know.
All right, don't take it personal. Thank you.
Mike?
I think Jerry probably does a good.
I think what you're saying, though, is that, when I pick it up and ask you from the public and you ask them, would it, what makes sense to you? What then makes sense to them? Is that, I'm thinking that's what you're going to happen, would that
It's
happen?
not going to appear, it's not going to appear in the document, the map, or in the report. We use data from Moonlight and the middle school enrollment to help.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we'll, this, we mental report, but after the one group, we'll propose, 48 hours. But it's actually, if you really look at it, and you look at the, map, it's quite interesting, how you see on the northern end, what is the central part of where he's at, it's just, it's coming from everywhere. And so,
On the receiving end of the line, we're going to statements and names of the law, and we go back to probably 2004, 2005, and 2006. So, fast forward to where we are now, it's been long overdue to get this deal. New deal, that is, housing units to our town. We didn't, so now, it's a legislative, it's inevitable that we didn't have to do this. So, again, I think you guys will be receiving some of the promises that we voted in.
But and Mike, just say, you know, yeah, you're right, you can see this, and you do it coming, but there's a requirement, you know, to get it done. Even if it wasn't a thing, and you found person, just for a long, after you go and you didn't buy it, you have to. I don't want to take away from money, but that's spending more than they've done. Yeah, right.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, questions? No? All right, I will close the meeting. So I usually like to talk about this. I know you said something, after you said something, but our programs are doing really well. Boys are doing well. It's been a long time since, you know, started that way. You know, we had for the first time, right? It's a long time. The program is doing well. And our portfolio is almost complete. Yes, I'm always going to be in spots, you know, the sound system, myself, the locking, it was phenomenal. So, I will be here, I'll be traveling for a business on October 17th, so it's a new event, and November 22nd, definitely November 22nd, so whatever you present as well as the plan, whether that be for opening up schools next year, as well as, you know, everything on council, Washington, et cetera, hopefully that's all in your program. So, any final comments, questions about the term?
Let's put a good suggestion in future. I went to high school, I put before we did.
so we're getting the,
It could be advertised over there, I don't know. I know you have on the website. I saw on the website, it says board of education,
intermediate,
this
So-
intermediate, it says, yeah, go to high school.
okay.
Auditorium, so auditorium, so I
Okay.
figured I went to high school.
All right, we'll
And
take a
then,
look.
yeah, just be, like, not only for, parents who are on the website, but also the other people in the community who are not. So somehow to get, I know, when there's no garbage pickup, I get texts, oh yeah, no garbage pickup today, okay, well, you think do the same thing for, things like a building, a school in town.
We
Just
can do
a
that.
suggestion, maybe you could pass that around too.
All right.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn? Favor, all opposed? Good night, everyone.
Merry Christmas.